68% of entry-level software engineering positions listed in a recent industry modeling cycle were quietly filled not by humans, but by AI coding systems operating inside major development pipelines. 68%. And the companies doing it did not announce it. They did not hold press conferences. They simply stopped hiring juniors, and nobody outside the industry noticed for almost 8 months. This is a fictionalized tech drama, but the patterns it explores are closer to real than most people are comfortable admitting. Welcome to Robotic Futures. I am AI Next Vision, and this is the series that was never supposed to be made, because here is what they want you to believe. They want you to believe this is still a story about productivity, about efficiency, about clever tools that help developers write code faster. That is the version of this story that gets approved by communications teams and published in press releases. It is clean. It is optimistic. It is almost entirely incomplete. The real story starts in an industrial software campus in the northern corridor of a major tech region. Modeled projections place this within an 18-month window. A multinational tech firm quietly restructured its entire junior development tier. Not downsized, restructured. The word choice was deliberate. Downsizing implies loss. Restructuring implies progress. But when you map the org charts before and after, the pattern is undeniable. Where there were once 412 junior developers, there were now 11. The other 401 positions had been absorbed by what internal documentation described as an intelligent code generation and review ecosystem. 11 humans, 401 machines, and the codebase ran faster than it ever had before. That is the opening frame of everything you are about to discover across these 5 parts. And I need you to understand that this is not a simple story about job loss. Job loss is the surface. Beneath it, there are 5 separate layers of this transformation that most people have never seen, and each one is darker than the last. The first layer is the one you think you understand. AI writes code now. Yes, you know this. Tools exist that can generate functional software from plain language descriptions. A leading AI lab released a system recently that scored in the 99th percentile on competitive coding benchmarks designed for senior engineers. Junior benchmarks were not even the target. They were simply collateral. But here is the part that gets quietly omitted from every headline. These systems do not just write code. They debug it, review it, document it, test it, and version control it. They do the entire junior developer workflow in under 4 seconds. That is layer 1. And most conversations about AI and jobs stop here. But there are 4 more layers. Layer 2 involves something the industry calls the compression of the learning pipeline. This is the breadcrumb I need you to hold on to because we are going to pull on this thread in part 2 with a specific case that will reframe everything. For decades, junior developers existed not just as labor, but as the training ground for senior developers. You became a senior because you spent years being a junior. You made mistakes on small projects. You learned under mentorship. You developed judgment. But models now indicate that with AI systems handling all entry-level tasks, that apprenticeship ladder has been quietly removed. And a Silicon Valley visionary recently told a closed-door investor gathering, according to a simulated transcript of that session, that within 1 generation, the concept of a junior engineer may be entirely extinct. Not evolved. Extinct. Layer 3 is economic, and it is the one that keeps labor economists up at night. We will go deep on this in part 3. But the seed I am planting now is this. Software development was the safe harbor. It was the career path that parents told their children was automation-proof. Learn to code. That was the mantra. For a full decade, that mantra was accurate. It is no longer accurate. And the gap between when it stopped being true and when the public found out is wider than anyone has officially admitted. Layer 4 is philosophical, and I will be honest with you, it is the one that haunts me most. When a machine can do the intellectual work of a human, and do it better, faster, and without compensation, we have to ask a question that has never had to be asked before in the history of civilization. What does the person do next? Not just economically, psychologically, spiritually. What happens to human identity when the skill you spent years developing becomes as obsolete as a blacksmith's hammer? We are going to sit inside that question in part 4, and I promise you it will be uncomfortable. Layer 5 is the one they are absolutely not ready for you to see. And I am going to save it for part 5 because it requires everything that comes before it to land the way it deserves to land. What I will tell you now is that it involves a specific internal projection, surfaced through a simulated intelligence leak, that a coalition of major tech firms quietly modeled a world in which software development as a human profession ceases to exist within a projected 3-year window. Not declines, ceases. And the document asked one question that no one at those firms was able to answer. Quote, if the builders are gone, who decides what gets built? That question is the center of this entire series. Everything we explore across these 5 parts orbits that one sentence. Here is where we are right now. You have just seen the shape of the story. You know the scale. You know the timeline. You know that something fundamental is being restructured in silence while most of the world debates whether AI is going to write a few emails. But that is just the architecture. In part 2, I am going to take you inside a specific simulated case study. One firm, one department, 1 week in which the decision was made and the junior developers were told. I have the modeled breakdown of how it unfolded, what was said, and what was discovered in the aftermath that changed how a government oversight body began looking at AI workforce displacement. It is the moment where this stops being abstract. Subscribe to AI Next Vision right now. Part 2 drops this week, and I want you to be ready, because the number they found when they audited that department is so precise and so disturbing that the first analyst who modeled it reportedly submitted a formal request to have the projection sealed. You are not ready for this, but you need to see it. In fact, real enough to sound impossible. A leading AI benchmark released recently showed an AI system completing a full junior developer sprint, including code generation, testing, and documentation in 47 minutes. The average human junior takes 4 days.